Hello, I am the real-life fake wizard. Today's video is on a topic that is very important, and I'd like to thank you for your prompt attention on this matter. Over the last year and a half, I have been making videos discussing the marketplace of entertainment. Million and billion-dollar corporations are producing films, television, and video games that are underperforming in that marketplace. Over my tenure, I have discussed reasons as to why. What were the circumstances leading up to these failures? What decisions were made at the leadership level that led to these outcomes? Who is directly to blame for these failures? And I also provide lots of recommendations for my viewers of what to do if they themselves are upset or disgruntled with products and services being made by these entertainment corporations. Most of those recommendations can be rendered down to stop giving these companies your money and speak with your wallet, even if you stand alone. I have also made the case that there are 5 people, or really 5 career positions, that are ruining entertainment. The first being the writers crafting the narratives that no longer resonate with audiences. The second being the marketing directors who no longer understand who general audiences are or what they believe in anymore. The third and fourth are very similar in the form of content creators and journalists who run defense for these corporations, peddling stories that defend the actions taken by the corporations. And the fifth is the corporate executives who don't care for the product or the customer at all and only seek to better their bottom line and produce results that please shareholders. Myself and others here on the internet have made names for ourselves by making videos and social media posts that hold these companies accountable. I believe that the financial failure of these movies and video games is because general audiences are sick of being lied to. They're tired of buying products they consider mediocre at a price tag that only ever seems to increase, but value received never increases to match the cost. And I also believe that these corporations, in their avarice, have come to have a two-parted mind when considering who their customers are or what they want. I believe that to one part, these corporations have become incompetent, ignorant, and no longer know how to create satisfying products. And to the other part, there is a deep-rooted rot that has run through these companies, poisoning the minds of creatives and developers to hate the audience they are making products for. They do not like the customers. In fact, they take every opportunity to mock and spew hatred for the very people they plainly expect to keep buying their goods. And that brings us to today. That brings us to right now, where an Access Media journalist was caught posting on LinkedIn, calling for companies to begin retaliating against YouTubers like myself who challenge and seek to hold these entertainment companies accountable. Discovered by Master of the TDS, let's read the initial post first. This is coming from Nick Calandra, Access Media journalist and founder of Second Wind. Quote, I really wonder when these game studios are going to take action against these YouTubers and social media grifters making up lies about people working at their studio, their business dealings, sales data, etc. It's clearly affecting business. Review bombing, harassment of developers, stalking campaigns. When do you take a stand? It's not contained to social media anymore, and we all know it. Now, before we continue, I do want to give Master of the TDS credit and read his thoughts on this discovery. Quote, Nick Calandra posted on LinkedIn urging game studios to take action against YouTubers and social media creators he claims are lying and hurting sales. Okay, let's break this down. I really wonder when these game studios are going to take action against these YouTubers and social media grifters. Okay, let's pause right there. That's a call for retaliation. That's a call for silencing. This so-called frustration is little more than a veiled call for censorship dressed up as corporate self-defense, while ignoring the very robust free speech protections that shield online commentary for folks in the United States. Next, grifter. He specifically used the term grifters. Grifter is one of those terms that, because it keeps coming up in circumstances like this, it no longer carries the weight that it once did. To grift, as defined, means to engage in petty swindling. Well, what does swindling mean? As defined, it means the usage of deception to deprive someone of money or possessions. So with those definitions, being a grifter implies intent. You're implying that the alleged grifter must be knowingly conning or lying someone out of their valuables or goods. What if they believe what they're saying? What if they're not lying? What if they have facts to back up their claims? And what if they're right? That's not a lie. To criticize and audit megacorporations who've spent the last 15 years collecting the scalps of every legacy hero I've ever known is not lying. It's not grifting. It's arguing. It's challenging. It's challenging these companies to start serving their customers again and deliver what their customers want. Let's continue. The next line says that these manifested YouTubers and social media grifters are making up lies about people working at video game studios. They're lying about business dealings and lying about sales data. That's easy. If YouTubers are lying about sales data or business dealings, companies can easily disprove those lies. In fact, I invite them to. I invite you to provide your sales data if YouTubers like myself have it wrong. I invite you to give us the actual budgets that you invest into your games. I invite you to be as transparent with us as possible, and I say us as a broad term. You should be fully transparent with your investors and your customers. And your transparency would certainly undo the alleged lies that these YouTubers have made, wouldn't they? The companies that are being white-knighted here are in the place of power. They're the authority figures in the marketplace to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. If they were to release fully transparent numbers, that would fully destroy all of these lying YouTubers, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it prove that these corporations are actually winning and deserve recognition for their achievements? Further, it's clearly affecting business. Good. Good, I'm glad. I'm glad that detractors and critics and auditors like myself can make a dent. It's kind of inspiring, thank you. Truly. Sometimes I feel like my calls for self-action and the refraining of giving these companies a penny falls on deaf ears. I feel like sometimes it's just myself and some of my most loyal viewers who want to see radical change take place in the entertainment marketplace. But you're saying that YouTubers and commentators can make a dent? Can you confirm this? Well, if that's the case, maybe it's time to get louder. Maybe it's time to get bolder. Maybe it's time to keep the pressure on them, to keep it up, to hold these companies accountable because apparently they're sweating and they're losing ground, and one of their own is confirming it. So if you're watching this and you're as angry as I am, maybe now's the time to get even more serious. Stop giving these companies your money. Cancel your subscriptions. Stop going to the movies. Stop buying their video games. Stop spending money with companies that you don't agree with. Stop wasting your precious time watching slop content from production companies that don't care whether you liked it or not. They aren't listening to your complaints on Twitter, and they don't care. But here we are getting confirmation from one of the Access Media journalists that your action, or rather your inaction, is making a difference. Now, I say a little bit of that to sound a little dramatic, but let's roll it back. This argument that detractors are clearly affecting business is a fascinating claim, and I wish Nick provided some kind of source or a reference point so we could see just exactly which angle he's coming at this from with a statement like that, because there are many angles. I believe he's implying that, and I'm trying to repeat his argument here. YouTubers are lying on the internet, which is resulting in a decline in video game units sold. And that is negatively impacting businesses. That's an extremely broad claim and doesn't factor in any other concern or issue that could otherwise be impacting sales figures. Also, and on the surface of what he's saying again, doesn't that seem super easy to fix? Correct the record. Be more transparent. Transparency would solve this issue. It would erase those lies, wouldn't it? Tell us about the sales figures. Tell us about the budgets. Tell us about why you've changed the stories the way you have. Tell us why you keep changing the characters. Tell us exactly why you keep dismantling and deconstructing legacy properties and injecting your ideologies into them. Tell us why you make the decisions that you do. Not only would that override alleged liars, it would make you a lot more relatable, and I think people would appeal to your plight a lot more than they already do. Most of these companies treat their customers like shit, belittling and blaming the customers for the company's hubris. Accountability and challenge from critics like myself does not often come from people who are unimpacted by the decisions these companies have made. Allow me to be personal with you for a moment here. I am Frankenstein's monster. Me, personally. I didn't want to be a video creator like this originally. I hate writing these video scripts. Videos like this one you're watching right now took me about 8+ hours to make. But I was a Star Wars apologist, sitting in a theater on December 17th, 2017, watching Luke Skywalker get brutally scalped, collected like a trophy for the ideologues at Lucasfilm. Years went by and I was heartbroken, but I was still the one saying, "Don't worry, you guys. It's all gonna be okay. Dave Filoni's gonna make it all make sense. It's gonna be fine." And it never was. It got worse and worse, and more of the stories that defined my upbringing and my belief system were also scalped for trophies. There are none left now. Gosh, even Tron couldn't survive the blade of HR checkbox boardroom sensitivity reading storytelling. And look how that's working out. The entertainment companies invented me. They invented commentators like me. I was happy just being a gamer. I was happy just going to movies every week. I was happy clapping like a seal at the jangling of the keys like so many still are. But now, I want to see them all fall. I want to see the video game companies fail. I want to see the movie studios close. I want to see the subscription services cause bankruptcy. I want it all to burn. And I want the people responsible for destroying everything to be held accountable. It's not my fault. They made me hate them. I want to see the industry in the way that it operates today collapse to pieces and be replaced by something new, pioneered by innovators and new thought leaders. And some of those new thought leaders and innovators are watching this video right now and haven't taken the plunge yet to start learning how to make something new. This is a call to action for you watching right now. I might be Frankenstein's monster. That's my calling, to make videos like this to fight back against corporate avarice and corporate manipulation. That might be what I was called to do. That's my call to action. Yours might be to start creating. And maybe you're in a place where you feel like you might need permission, which is interestingly enough, in my time of doing this, a lot of people do. They feel like they need permission to go create. This is it. I'm giving you permission to go create. Go learn how to be creative. Use all of the tools at your disposal. Learn how to write. Learn how to read better. Increase your capacity for knowledge. Stress test yourself. Make new things. Expect constant failure because you're going to fail a lot. And keep getting back up to try again. I don't care if it's art or writing or programming, or maybe you can make better arguments than me that dismantle these entertainment juggernauts. Maybe you just need to pick up a microphone, but you need to do it. You got to get started. They're saying that asking questions, asking for transparency, and holding them accountable is now lying. They're saying that I'm lying, or other YouTubers are lying, but it's actually worse than that. Or at least the entire sentiment proposed by Nick Calandra is worse than that, because he's not only saying we're lying, he's saying that we're lying. And the solution is not using truth to eradicate lies. It's just eradicate detractors, to silence you. They might silence me, and at some point I fully expect them to. I'm not long for these platforms forever. But if they do silence me, that means they're silencing you too. You won't be able to critique them. You won't be able to challenge them or audit them. You won't be able to say, "Hey, you just destroyed my favorite stories. You just killed all of my heroes. What'd you do that for?" For that, you shall be silenced. Nick goes on to talk about review bombing, which is not proven to be actually impactful or a reliable indicator at all. I did a video on that and linked it here. For every one project that you claim was review bombed and failed, I can show you another that was review bombed and succeeded. Then we get harassment of developers and stalking campaigns. Okay? Call the police. Hold people accountable, if that's happening. If people are breaking the law, go to the police. I've gotten death threats. I've gotten death threats for saying Nintendo is a greedy company, and they were pretty nasty threats. That's never okay, and that's an outlier here. In fact, that's a real disingenuous and twisted thing to do, you know. Nick's trying to bind the actually violent crazy people to the people who are upset they charged $80 for Mario Kart. These are not the same people, but you get to villainize and dehumanize your opposition by asserting that your opposition is physically violent. Again, I've gotten death threats. I'm not going to lump my harassers into the same category as my detractors, Why? Well, because that'd be a prejudice. And it would be wrong. It would be factually incorrect. As we get closer to the end here, I feel compelled to take a moment to say, I don't know this Nick guy. I don't know anything about him personally, and I don't want to know anything about him. I don't want to know him. I hope he makes millions of dollars, and we wish him well. My comments here today are not about the commentor. It's about the position the commentor holds. This is an Access Media journalist. Journalists were supposed to be the ones who held the people in power accountable. They're the ones that are supposed to challenge the corporations and the politicians in order to keep people like you and I informed and empowered to make better decisions in our own lives. But by putting out a statement like this, all that has been done is reinforce my original claim that journalists today are only there to advocate in defense of megacorporations. Here, we find a prominent video games journalist calling for censorship and silencing of megacorporation detractors. That's the world we're in, folks. The journalists are white knights for the very corporations that have cranked all our lives up to hard mode. Journalists can call me and my friends grifters and liars. They can call us whatever they want, but refuse to acknowledge that their actions and their cowardice have put us all into positions where my friends and I have become essential because journalists have stopped doing the job they were supposed to do. And the irony is, if you dig into most of these Access Media journalists, you'll find they all subscribe to some flavor of Marxist ideology. So you've got Marxist journalists running the defensive line for the richest corporations the world has ever known. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a lawyer. I'm no doctor. I'm just a fake wizard that wants to inspire the next wave of creatives to start creating, because that's how we fight back against these corporate oligarchs. When we stop giving them our money, we bleed them dry, and we instead fund others who are creating new and exciting things that deserve our time and attention. That's how we win. And it's not just for us. It's for those who come after. Until next time, create, innovate, inspire others to do the same, and for the love of God, cancel Disney Plus. Yup. Cancel Disney Plus. Okay, bye-bye.